All right. Good Wednesday afternoon, everyone. Thanks for stopping by for a check of your forecast. It is December 3rd, year of our Lord 2025. We're taking a live look out in New Mexico. This is actually Red River. So this is outside of the viewing area, but they usually see the weather that we see a few hours beforehand. And you can see it is obviously snowing out there right now. This is their third decent snow of the last couple of weeks. So nice to see that they're finally getting a little bit of some powder there on the slopes. Looks like the roads starting to get a little bit of some snow on them. It looks like it's kind of a drier snow too, just based off of how it's kind of blown off some of the roads. Looks like it's maybe accumulating on some of the grassy surfaces and things like that. But visibility definitely getting limited out there. We are expecting some snow even here in the western panhandles as well. That's why we have that winter weather advisory that's going to take effect tonight at 8 p.m. Will continue until lunchtime Thursday. So again, we still have a few more hours before we expect any winter weather here in the area. Let's go ahead and take a look outside at some of the cameras. This is over in text line. It's cold up there, but we haven't seen any snow get to the surface at this point in time. Yeah, still looks like it is. Yeah, it might be snowing just a little bit over there. If it is, it's just a flurry. It's not enough to limit the visibility, but might see a flake or two flying across the screen. You can see it's 33 there in Clayton. So again, obviously that colder air mass, that wet weather, with all the snowfall expected to start to kind of creep into the region overnight tonight, and then will linger and start to exit from west to east as we get into Thursday afternoon. Temperatures right now, it's 46 in Amarillo. It's been kind of a grueling process to get there to the mid 40s today. Some lower 50s the further south and east you go. And again, those winds are out of the north around 15 to 25 miles per hour. So here's a quick look at the radar and water vapor imagery. You can see again some of that snow there in the interior mountains of the Sangre de Cristo. That's where we just looked at from the sky cam in Red River. Nice big batch of snow on the leeward side of the Front Range there in central Colorado. Again, my sister lives up there in Colorado Springs. She was sharing some video earlier today. They had like 6, 7 inches of snow on the ground, was still snowing at a moderate rate. Her dogs were having an absolute blast in the fresh powder. So all that stuff's going to be heading our way here over the next 24 hours. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at our advisories. It's not for the whole area. We have an advisory up in Cimarron County in the Oklahoma Panhandle, and then just kind of that northwest third of the rest of the panhandles as well. The threshold for advisories out here is actually 3 inches, so that's why you don't see any advisories for Quay and portions of Union County for right now. That's just because the snow accumulations are probably going to be less than that, but the threshold drops to 1 inch when you get here into the panhandles, and so that's why it sparked an advisory here, and maybe why we may not see an advisory issued out here at some point. Now, if Clovis, you guys start seeing that 1 inch benchmark being reached, you will see an advisory sparked down there. There's just not as much confidence as we get to these southern counties on whether or not we'll get to the advisory criteria for snow accumulations. And so you may see some adjustments and changes through the rest of this evening, but for now, this is where those advisories are at. That's where we've got the highest confidence in at least 1 inch of snow accumulating here across parts of the panhandle. Here's our highs for tomorrow. Going to be really chilly. We're going to tumble down into the 30s, or rather, we're only going to climb into the 30s for those high temperatures with all that winter precipitation. And then lows for tomorrow night going to be down into the teens and 20s after that snowpack has again started to melt from the ground. So let's run through the computer model. This is 4 p.m. You can see some of that snow starting to really develop over the next 5 or 6 hours. The big question is, where do these mesoscale bands of heavier precipitation set in? You can see again some reflectivity values getting a little bit higher, the darker blues showing maybe even some heavy snow in a narrow corridor. We may get some of that inevitably up here as well. I think most of us are probably going to end up with about a ½ inch to 1.5 inches of snowfall, but there will be some pockets where we do see these bands set up and they may be producing some higher snow rates where we could get up into that 2, 3, maybe even 4 inch range in some localized areas. Unfortunate side of this is we don't know where those are going to set up just yet. That's really going to have to kind of wait until they start to develop, and then we'll have a really good idea of where we will have some of those more enhanced snow bands trying to dump, that 3 inches of snow in some areas. But as we get into 6 a.m., a lot of the snow coming to an end up here in the northern panhandles. All that snow should be kind of favoring the central and southern side of the area through Thursday morning. By lunchtime, we think we're probably done with the snow. The clouds will start to clear on out, but we'll still be a very cold day, only climbing back up into the 30s for those high temperatures. And then it is going to be a cold start to our day on Friday. Still may see some snow on the ground for a few of us. That's going to help keep the temperatures down to start the day. And then we'll probably only climb up to about 49 for the high temperature on Friday. And so it is going to be a very cold electric light parade for us this year. So here's our in-house model. Don't take the numbers for gospel truth, but you can see again, there's just a nice little light dusting of snow across a good chunk of the area where we see a lot of those 1/2 inch to 1.5 inch totals. Again, you can see or make out where there's maybe some narrower bands in here where you get to those 2 and 3 inch totals. That'd be a little bit more snow to probably cause some minor travel issues by Thursday morning. I don't think the travel impacts are going to be felt widespread. It's going to be kind of splotchy across the area, just in some small narrow swaths where we have the better snow accumulations. And again, initially some of the snow is probably going to melt off the roads anyway, so it's going to take probably a few hours before it starts to stick to things like the roads and your driveway and things like that. Now the grassy surfaces, the elevated surfaces, we'll probably see the snow stick pretty quick, but I think the roads will be okay tonight for the most part. As we get past midnight, things will probably start looking less ideal to be out there driving. I think our worst time to probably be on the road would be early tomorrow morning. And again, I don't know if it's going to be widespread minor travel impacts for us, but we could probably have some minor travel impacts on a localized level where those bands of heavier snow do try to set up overnight tonight. So here's the probabilities for 1 inch of snowfall from the National Weather Service. You can see that they've got like really a much higher probability the further west you get. Kind of down the highway, or rather I-40 corridor from Tucumcari to Amarillo, sitting at about a 60-70% chance to get to an inch of snow accumulation. And then up there in the northwest panhandle from Dumas up towards Clayton in Union County, where they're already seeing some snow accumulations up near Capulin Volcano up there on the road. So there has been some snow that's been observed over the last couple of hours out here. We have not seen it reach areas like Clayton just yet or Tucumcari, but over the next probably 4 to 5 hours, we'll start seeing that stuff fill in. So here's our forecast here at Storm Surge 7. I'm going to go ahead and just call it, a lot of us will probably see anywhere from 1/10 to an inch of snow. That's why we've got that cyan color kind of draped across the whole area. Places that may miss out on the snow probably will be up here in the northeast, Perryton, up towards Beaver County. We're still going to put you in there. We won't rule out some snow flurries and maybe a quick dusting of some snow to amount to maybe 1/10 of an inch, but I don't think you guys will see much actual accumulation that's going to be a problem. As we get over towards the west, Dumas and Guyman, this is probably where we'll start seeing those 1 inch accumulations a little bit more widespread. And as you get further into the heart of this darker blue, is where you'll start seeing maybe some of those better totals of 2 to 3 inches. Here in the Amarillo area, I would give us probably around an inch of accumulation. At least that's the expectation for right now. Similar situation for much of this area down here. I think a lot of these locations, Clovis, Tucumcari, Hereford, and Dimmitt, a lot are going to be around that 1 inch benchmark, but where we do see the small scale bands set up, there's going to be a confined corridor, and it may only be a few miles wide, where you go from 1 inch of snow on the ground to 3 or 4 inches of snow on the ground. But that 3 to 4 inches is only going to be for just a few locations. Here's our 7-day tracker. We are going to have a chilly day for the electric light parade. Just make sure that you bundle up if you're going to go out celebrating with us. It's going to be on Polk Street. David Bradley and I will be out there. A lot of us are going to be out there. Hope to see you guys there as well. And then we'll have some quieter weather heading into this weekend. And the weather does turn kind of quiet for a 7 to 10 day stretch. We may not have any more active weather to talk about until the second half of December. So hopefully we can get some good moisture out of this over the next 24 hours, because we have been relatively dry as of the past 6 or 7 weeks. So even though it is snow and it does cause some problems, moisture is moisture. It does keep our fire threat at bay. So it is something that we'll gladly accept and take here in the high plains, because we don't see much moisture in the winter months. So whatever we can get and how we can get it, we won't complain too much. But we'll go ahead and jump back over to some of the cameras real quick and the radar, just to show you again. We are starting to see some of this stuff try and fill in out here east of the Sangre de Cristo mountain range. And so I think here over the next 2 to 3 hours, we'll start seeing some of those snowflakes maybe get to the surface for places like Clayton and Tucumcari and places like that. You actually can see there's a few flakes actually now falling there in text line. So it is a flurry in text line right there around Clayton, New Mexico. So we are starting to see some of that get to the ground. Go ahead and message NWS. But you can see it's hard to miss or easy to miss, but you can see some of these white flakes flying out there. So we are starting to see a flurry up in text line, which is pretty close to Clayton, New Mexico. And if we look at the radar and water vapor imagery, you can make out where, again, some of that stuff's starting to fill in on our radar up here. So this stuff is reaching the surface. We'll start to see this fill in here over the next couple of hours. So this event looks like it's going to set in pretty quick. Notice our temperature in Amarillo. It is in the 40s right now. And again, there's a lot of us above freezing out here, but only the bottom layer of the atmosphere is above freezing. So a lot of this will probably still be snow as it gets to the surface. If it's not and it's rain or a rain snow mix, it will probably only take 5 to 10 minutes before it turns to outright snowfall. So most of this, like 99% of what we see today, is going to be snowfall. And then we'll go ahead and show you again that quick sky cam view out there in Red River, New Mexico. It's a nice little snow out there right now. Looking forward to it. We're going to end your live here. Again, we'll just hang out this evening. If anything really inclement shows up or we have any major changes in the forecast, we'll probably jump back on and give you guys another update around 9 o'clock tonight. But overall, we only expect the snow accumulations to be around 1-2 inches. So that's not a huge event for us. It's a pretty standard event for the panhandles. If we start getting to, some of those areas where we do see a heavier band set up and we maybe have, some spots where we think 3 to 5 inches of snow may start to develop, we'll jump back on and let you guys know where those places are going to be. But for now, I'd expect probably about 1 inch to 2 inches of snow across the area. And some of us will probably fall below that threshold, even those in the advised counties. But there's also going to be a few of us that probably get a little bit more than that.